Hey there guys, and welcome back to my channel. It's your boy Odin, and today I'm bringing you guys another no BS DPS guide. This time we're going to be talking over the Bard. The Bard is definitely a very powerful class right now, since it is a very ranged class. It is also a very powerful healer, but I'll probably do the healing guide on the next video. I wanted to go ahead and talk strictly about the Bard because of the fact that he did just get a pretty massive nerf in the DPS build, but there is a workaround. Essentially now he is built for damage over time with a slight different change in which you can do some burst DPS. So this class is still very viable in arenas and in PvP. Granted that you're very lucky with your rotation and that you do end up getting the buffs that you need. So just like every other class, guys, the Bard does also use a enhancement bar or a damage meter. Essentially, you can take a look at it right here. It's going to be Spectrum Energy, and the way that you're really working on this is you're going to be using your Zealous Melody and your Powerful Melody in conjunction with your chord score to basically build up your power for the Inscribed Stone, and using each one of those different chords is going to give you a different buff. So I'm going to go ahead and talk a little bit about the skills next so that you guys understand what the skills are. The first skill is going to be Zealous Melody. There's going to be this red chord here that's in the middle of your screen. If you're on the PC version, it's not gonna be in the same setup, but it's essentially what you want to remember is that this is basically your #1 key. So Zealous Melody is what you're going to use to basically activate your red chords, and then Elegant Melody is what you're going to want to use to activate your purple chords. So those are going to be the two chords that are going to build up your Inscribed Stone power, and then the chord score is what you're going to use to release it. If you watch my latest Paladin DPS guide, then it essentially kind of works in the same way, where you would either use this Justice Thump or the Justice Strike to kind of activate the axe. The Bard is similar like that, in which you're basically using your Zealous Melody or your Elegant Melody to build up your power, and then using the chord score to release that power. The other skills that the Bard is going to use is going to be Wild Music. This is a burst enhancement, so it's just going to boost your damage for around 15 seconds. You can read the description for it, but it says it boosts your combo rate by 4%. In addition, attack plus 70 and the speed up effect plus 5. So that's what's going to allow you to basically use your skills a little bit faster. So as you guys will see once I explain my Inscribed Stone path, cooldown is going to be very important. The other skill you're going to be using very heavily is going to be Passionate Play, and most of your burst damage is going to revolve around making sure that you're using Passionate Play along with another buff that you'll get from Elegant Melody, and I'll go over that in the rotation here in a little bit. The next thing that you're going to use for skills is going to be Sonic Boom. Sonic Boom is essentially going to only be used when you're doing AoE attacks against multiple enemies. So Sonic Boom is essentially just going to be a floating skill unless you're dealing again or going up against multiple enemies. So it's just your one AoE skill, and it does differ for the rotation, and I'll go ahead and show you guys that rotation as well once we start talking about that. The next thing that I'll go over here really quickly is going to be the talent tree. Feel free to pause the video and put in the points that you need to, or the points that you have, into as many of the trees that I've kind of put on here on the left, or your options. This is essentially going to be working off of your melody, like I said. So just pause the video, take a look at what I've got. I'll say that for homology here, I prefer to have 3 out of 3, but I just don't have enough talent points on this at this time, since the Bard is essentially just one of my alts that I'm using. I'm not really focusing on him heavily, so I haven't unlocked all of the talent trees. The other one that I'd like to have all 3 out of 3 is going to be Finale. And then the other one that I'd like to have all 3 out of 3 is Free Inspiration. For the Bard, there is a buff that you can use for your raid, and that is in the form of Majestic. I don't have the talent points to spend on that again, so I'm just going to go ahead and leave that out because I'm not doing a lot of PvE content in which I'm raiding, but if you're a hardcore PvE raider, you'd want to throw a couple points into Majestic, since it does give a buff to the rest of your teammates, and that's very important when it comes to raiding. But for PvP, you would rather allocate those points into free inspiration, since it is a personal buff for yourself. Unless you're doing maybe like battlegrounds, in which case, if you feel like you want to buff up your teammates as well, then you'd want to use Majestic. But if you're just doing random battlegrounds, I would still go with free inspiration. So again, feel free to pause the video, take a look at what I've got on my screen, and replicate if you need to. This is a pretty popular build. I've seen quite a few people using it, but it really is going to be up to your choice whether or not you're building it for PvE content or PvP content. But this is a pretty functional build for both PvE and PvP, like I said. The ultimates, I'm not really going to go too much into that, but I will say that noise is going to be one of your most used skills, because it is an interrupt as well. And if you're doing PvP, you pretty much need to have noise. It's just no question about it. The other skill you're going to be or might be using quite often is going to be Sound Barrier if you are a PvP ranged bard, and it does kind of help you take or absorb quite a bit of damage and heal up a little bit of damage as well. It's a pretty powerful heal, I think, once you start to level it up as well. So the other one that I like to use is Piano Music. If you're familiar with the World of Warcraft mage, it's basically a blink. It's not really the greatest until you buff it up through the arena points, but it can be pretty useful in certain situations. Potential Unleash is another kind of really niche ultimate that I think that some of you guys may choose to use. Unless you, again, level it up through the arena points, it really doesn't become that useful, but it's just basically a movement speed effect. Soundwave is another really good one that I like to use in PvP because it is a knockback effect. So again, feel free to guys to kind of just take a look and see what you guys like to use in PvP or in arena, and then make your choice accordingly. But that's kind of the two that the two main ones that I use are going to be noise and sound barrier. I seem to like sound barrier the most. But that's it, guys. So now we're going to go ahead and talk about the rotation. I'll make sure that I put the rotation on the left hand side there in the notes, so you guys can kind of slow down and see what I'm doing here. But essentially what you're going to be doing is you're going to be going to be filling up your enhancement bar to acquire the buffs, and then once you have the buffs, that's when you'll use your wild music and then your passionate play, and then start to burst down with your chord score. So first thing you're going to want to do is you want to use 2 red chords. So we'll do 1, 2, and we'll use the chord, and you get a buff. Then next thing you'll do is going to be 2 purple chords until you get a buff. So purple chord, and you guys will see the buff pop up here on the screen in a second. Hopefully, there it is. So we're going to use that, a red chord, passionate play, and we're going to use chord 3 times. And then we're going to use purple, red, and the chord. And then we're going to go back to purple, and the chord. So hopefully you guys see kind of how that functions, and you guys are able to replicate it. It's very, very simple. Let me go ahead and back out of here really quickly. We'll reset all of the skills, and then we'll do the rotation one more time. And then hopefully we're able to build up the Inscribed Stone, so you guys see what you want to use once the Inscribed Stone is also up. Once the Inscribed Stone is up, you basically also just want to spam 3 times chord. And if you guys are not familiar with the Inscribed Stone, it's just a damage boost, as well as allows you to basically spam your main active skills. So that's where PvP using that burst damage is going to be very, very helpful to you guys. So we'll do the rotation one more time, and then I'll go over the Inscribed Stone paths that I've used. So we'll do red, chord, and then you use purple and purple until you get that buff. So we'll see if I get the buff here shortly. And again, you want to really try to play off your cooldowns once you have that buff. All right, so there we have the buff, and then we'll use that, and then we'll use chord 3 times. And you go back to red, purple, and go back again to red, chord, purple, chord, and you basically go off again until you get that buff. And as you guys can see, my passionate play is up again. So by the next time that you get that buff, passionate, you want to go off of passionate play again and try to spam the chord 3 times and go back into spamming your chord again. So now that I have that chord there, I'm going to use 2 red chords again to kind of just go back and recycle the rotation again. So you guys can kind of see that the red chord essentially just gives you your buff, and then you're going to want to use red, passionate play, spam chord 3 times, and there you go. So that's basically how you want to do it. Now the inscribed stone is also up, so I'm going to go ahead and show you guys again. So we'll do 2 red chord, press the inscribed stone, red, red, chord, purple, purple, chord, 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 chord. We weren't able to get that last chord in there, but you want to do it like that as well. So you want to just basically try to spam your chord one more time. So there we go. We got the buff again. So chord, chord, chord. But essentially now that should give you guys a pretty good idea of kind of like how the bard wants to work. You basically just want to try to build up until you get that buff, and then go off of what you got there for the buff, and try to capitalize on when you do have those buffs to use your major skills, which will be your wild music, passionate play, and then the 2 chord score ones. Now for the AoE, I do want to go ahead and show you guys the AoE as well. What I like to do for the AoE is I like to use 1 mixed chord, and then I'll so essentially 1 red, 1 purple, and then sonic boom, I think it's called sonic boom, and then you can use the chord. So we'll do 1 red, 1 purple, sonic boom, and the chord. And what you can do is you can do 2 reds. If your buff is down, you want to do 2 reds to buff up yourself first, and then 2 purples to get the buff, and then you can use the sonic boom again. So really up to you guys. You'd want to use whichever chords allow you to bring your buff back up, and then switch to sonic boom once that you have the buffs. So you could do 2 chords, and then or let me go back and say that again. You're going to use a red, the chord, and then sonic boom. So red, red, chord, sonic boom, purple, purple, chord, sonic boom. And you guys can see that you basically have just enough time to do 1 rotation of either the red chord or the purple chord, and then sonic boom in between. And what that does is it basically ensures that you're using sonic boom every time that it's up. So again, one more time, I'll just slow down. We'll do red, red, chord, sonic boom, purple, purple, chord, and then sonic boom. So we'll do red, red, chord, sonic boom, purple, purple, chord, sonic boom. So you guys can see that you can basically use 1 rotation of the red, 1 rotation of the purple to bring your buffs up, and then you can use sonic boom in between whenever you guys are down on your buffs. And so that's pretty much it for the rotation. Like I said, I'll put it down here on the left hand side on text so that you guys see how it works. And let me go ahead and show you guys the inscribed stone path. If you didn't, or if you watched my paladin video, I did not show the inscribed stone path on that video, but this is the path that I use for pretty much all of my characters right now. And what I'm really prioritizing is going to be cooldown, and then any open paths that I can get to embed one of the emblems or inlay one of the emblems, as the emblems are going to give you energy, which is going to allow you to basically reduce the amount of time that you need to activate your inscribed stone. So again, the inscribed stone really is just there to boost your damage for that short brief period of time. So you want to reduce your cooldown of your skills, and you want to boost as much power as you can into your inscribed stone, which is why I am trying to go for as many emblems as possible in the path. So feel free to pause the video, guys, here if you want to take a quick look so you guys know what to open. But I am essentially trying to follow the path all the way on the left. I had to open a couple paths here in the beginning, so I put them into combo and some into resonance. since resonance increases some of your attributes. And then if you guys read that, resonance affects how fast a player can get inscribed stone energy and how powerful the inscribed stone skill would be during skill burst. And you know, that was kind of one of the other reasons why I activated that one there at the bottom, which allows me to grab just a little bit more inscribed stone essence or dust as I'm leveling up. But essentially I chose the path that's going to give me the most amount of cooldowns. So now when I do have enough energy or enough points for the next inscribed stone path, I'm going to go again with cooldown, since cooldown is essentially going to just allow you to do more of your skills a little bit quicker and get your skill stone, your inscribed stone I should say, off faster, so you can continue to use that effect. So far I'll say that after you have a certain amount of cooldown and you build up your attributes quite well, you could probably get your inscribed stone to pop off every like it's around 60 to 80 seconds, so you could basically use your inscribed stone every minute or so. I think on my paladin I'm down to around like 74 seconds, so every 4 seconds or so I'm able to activate the inscribed stone, you know, by just maintaining the rotation. But that's pretty much it. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the guide. Hopefully it was helpful to you. If you do find the guide helpful, make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe to my channel for more Tarisland guides and content. It does help me out quite a bit when you guys hit that like button, so make sure you guys hit the like so that you can essentially help promote my channel to other people as well. And feel free to share as well with anybody else that may be struggling or maybe needs some help in figuring out some of the Tarisland characters. Like I said, I've pretty much got every character to level 40 now, and I'll be releasing quite a few of these guides in the next couple of days. But hopefully this was helpful to you. Again, you know, here's the inscribed stone path. So for those of you guys that were asking on the last video, what do I do with the inscribed stone, this is kind of what you want to go for. For the emblems, I'll take a quick second to talk about it. There's really not that many that I find that are too niche, but obviously every class has the perfect emblem for it. I would say that for right now it's too early to tell which are the best for each class, but I will go ahead and tell you guys what I am using. So for the bard I'm using Tribal Ode, which increases focus. The next one that I'm using is going to be Burst, which is just a flat out intelligence, which increases your damage done. Then I'm also using Sprawl, which again is another intelligence boost. And then again, Warlike Search, which gives me a little bit of focus again, which is just boosting a little bit of my power. But that's what I'm using right now. All of you guys may have different emblems, but feel free to use what you guys have. Like I said, right now it's way too early to tell which are the best emblems. I don't think anybody's got every emblem to max yet, unless they're a whale. But that's pretty much what I think is going on with the Inscribed Stone path right now. Anyways, guys, again, thank you all for watching. I'll see you all on the next video. Take it easy, guys.